Did you guys see the debate last night? Man, Trump absolutely won that debate with Kaitlan Collins. I got to be honest. After that performance for Collins, I don't know how she's going to improve in the polls. I'm kidding. You get the point. May as well have been Kaitlan Collins running for president. She was just trying to debate Donald Trump nonstop, and she was wrong. The most frustrating thing about last night's town hall with Donald Trump is that Kaitlan Collins tries jumping in saying, no, Trump, you're wrong. But actually, half the time, she was wrong. This is the problem with CNN. And it may be why, ladies and gentlemen, CNN cut the town hall down by 20 minutes. I noticed this when we were live last night on Timcast IRL doing live commentary. And I just assumed I must have been wrong. You see, we planned for this. We're like, hey, look, guys, there's the town hall tonight. We are going to do live commentary over this. And it's the weirdest thing, too. People are like, I'm going to watch Tim Pool and crew do live commentary over CNN and then get mad when they talk. Bro, watch a different channel. Like, we're here to provide commentary. But we planned for this. And we were like, from 8 to 9:30, that's when they're doing the town hall. And then afterwards, we'll jump to super chats. Then we'll do members only like we normally do. And then it was like 9:10 or something where abruptly Kaitlan Collins is just like, that's it for tonight's town hall. Thanks. Bye. Yo, everybody's pointing this out. I'm happy that CNN did this town hall. I'm not here to rag on CNN for hosting the town hall. I will criticize Kaitlan Collins of CNN for just basically debating Trump and being wrong. And I'm going to debunk, at least I've got one tweet from Byron Donalds debunking what she says, making a strong point about how CNN's wrong and they think they're right. So you see, this is the problem. If you want to do a town hall, Trump talks. Trump talks to the audience. But you want to jump in every 2 seconds and say no? So CNN does a panel afterwards, which perfectly exemplifies why they back down, why they shut this down early. Let me stress this again for you so you can repeat this to the high heavens. CNN shut down Trump's town hall 20 minutes early. And the reason I think it's because Trump was doing an amazing job. Now, early on in the town hall or debate, whatever you want to call it, Kaitlan Collins asks Trump about 2020 election, about January 6th, and it was nails on a chalkboard to me. I got to be honest. Look, we got, if you're a big Trump fan, you're like, Tim, you're wrong and all that stuff. That's fine. You're allowed to think those things. But to me, nails on a chalkboard. I just tell people, look, I'm like a moderate guy. The left wants to lie and claim I'm far right because they're evil, and that's what they do. No, I'm fairly moderate. Trump talking about fraud and all that stuff is nails on a chalkboard to me, particularly because I want to win. And when I go talk to regular people, they have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, they're trying to get Trump on this topic on purpose because they know it polls poorly with moderates. So guess what? At the end of the show, they do this panel and they're like, what did you think? Were you bothered that Trump kept talking about this? And this dude's all like, you asked him about it. It's really good. I'll show you the clip. But that's exactly why I think they're like, pull it, shut it down. It was a disaster. I'm willing to bet that CNN was seeing like tweets fired at him. AOC is freaking out. She's tweeting like, how dare you? How dare you, CNN? It was amazing. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, baby. I hope you're ready for what's to come. I have this historical photograph taken last night of Donald Trump on the CNN town hall debate. Here you can see Donald Trump with glistening muscles and glowing blonde hair. The funny thing about this Mid-Journey AI-generated cartoon image of Donald Trump all ripped is that it's clearly a joke and, to a certain degree, making fun of Trump. He is an old, out-of-shape man whose ideas we like and has a tough demeanor. This is the joke. The joke is figurative. The funny thing is, I made this image after we're like, this is in the middle of doing the members only show. I went on Mid-Journey and I was like, image of Donald Trump going Super Saiyan. And the left, they're all like, it's a cult. It's a cult. When I posted a picture of Joe Biden super ripped and smiling with aviators on, they didn't say anything. OK, these people do not understand humor at all because they're zombies. But let me pull up the story from Newsweek and talk about CNN cutting Donald Trump by 20 minutes. And then I'm going to show you some of the tweets. Yo, it's not good. Politico says Trump smacked down CNN. It's beautiful. Let's read. Newsweek, just this morning, writing, Questions have been raised as to why CNN appeared to cut a town hall broadcast with Trump on Wednesday short by as much as 20 minutes. The former president and 2024 Republican primary contender took to the stage in St. Anselm College in New Hampshire, where he spoke on a number of topics, including his civil defamation case loss the previous day and the debt ceiling, in a conversation with network anchor Kaitlan Collins. CNN had courted controversy after announcing the program on May 1st, with detractors accusing the channel of giving Trump another platform to spread misinformation and calling for a boycott after a New York jury ruled he had sexually abused writer E. Jean Carroll in 1996. Oh, and there's so much to that story as well, because for some reason, I'm in that story. Oh, geez. They're roping me into this one, huh? Yeah, basically a juror said he had listened to 3 or 4 episodes of this show. That's it. And they were like, disqualified? Like, tried to kick him off the jury. Amazing. These people are in a cult, dude. Like, let me just stress this. You can criticize me. You can tell me you can say whatever you want. But if you're going to accuse a dude who's watched 3 or 4 episodes of being so biased he can't be on a jury, you are in the cult. Like, dude, he watched 3 or 4 episodes. That's what he said. And they're like, he can't possibly be unbiased. He's seen a show a couple times. Wow. That's how scared they are of me? That if someone's seen my show maybe even 3 or 4 times, that they're hyper partisan? That's amazing. I must be really influential. Share this video with your friends, because apparently only 3 or 4 clips and boom, their brains shatter from the Matrix. I'm really impressed by that. Thank you, guys. It's a compliment. They say, in a statement to Newsweek earlier this week, the network said it was our job, despite his unique circumstances, to do what we do best. Ask tough questions, follow up, and hold him accountable. Following the town hall, CNN said Trump had made false claims about abortion and repeated his unfounded claim the 2020 election was rigged. This is what they do. This is what they lie about. One of the best things Trump said, they start talking about abortion. And Trump says, I'm not radical on abortion. They want to abort the babies at 9 months. At 9 months, he's doing the accordion thing with his hands. He's right. There's a viral video out of Virginia where a woman, what was her name? Was her name Nancy Tran out of Virginia? Let me fact check this one. Let me make sure I have it right. I could be wrong about this. Wait, is that her name? Let me pull up the news. I don't want to get the name wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me search this. Virginia abortion at birth. You see, that was the thing. It's a viral video. Oh, they're bringing the bill back. Showing this woman saying that if a woman is at the point of birth, they could still abort the baby. There's no restrictions. And that's what Trump is talking about. And it looks like they're trying to bring it back. Virginia Senate Democrats kill bill to protect infants born alive after failed abortions. Oh, geez. Maybe they're trying to bring it back. Anyway, I'll have to bring it up. I didn't bring it up. But anyway, Trump's not wrong about that. I suggest you look it up. I think the woman's name was Tran. Her last name was Tran. Man, I really wish I would have pulled it up. Kathy Tran. I am sorry. It was Kathy, not Nancy. I knew there was a Y in there somewhere. Can we get here we go. I got it. Here we go. To prove Trump right, I had to pull this up in real time. Virginia bill would legalize abortion up to birth. National Review. NewsGuard certified. 85 out of 100. Generally credible. Do you think they just made this up? Democratic delegate Kathy Tran has introduced a bill in the House of Delegates that would legalize abortion up to birth. When questioned about the bill on Monday by Todd Gilbert, Tran acknowledged that it would allow abortion even at the very end of pregnancy. And they claim Trump is lying because these people are insane. They're either evil or they're in a cult. And I think it may be both. But let's stay on topic. Now that I've fact checked that for you in real time, so you can see this is not something Trump made up. They're lying. Let's get back to the news. Dylan Byers, a senior correspondent at Puck News, tweeted on Wednesday, the town hall was scheduled as a 90-minute broadcast, though the network expected the actual event to go as long as 75 minutes. Yes, it was 90 minutes. That's what was reported across the board because we planned for it. They shut it down early. He wanted to say that it ended less than 70 minutes in. In other words, they could have gone longer if they wanted, which is usually what executives do with big ratings draws. Archived listings show that the town hall was scheduled to last 75 minutes, followed by 2 back-to-back episodes of Anderson Cooper. Another Twitter user said the program lasted exactly 69 minutes. The event ended at 6:09 p.m. Pacific time. Matt Gates says, did CNN cut it short because Trump was doing so well? I've never seen a town hall get called like a mercy rule before. That actually happened. Look, all I can tell you is when we were preparing for the show, I looked up how to watch it and they said it was scheduled to go for 90 minutes starting at 8 p.m. That's an hour and a half. That means by 9:30, we were done. They called it early. That's it. I think they called it early. Trump absolutely roasted this. Take a look at this. Insider says, CNN hoped a Trump town hall would give it credibility with the GOP. Instead, it got dunked on. Hold your horses there, man. Yes, I will dunk on Kaitlan Collins for being wrong. Saying things like, I'm going to pull up a tweet from Byron Donalds. I can show you exactly where she's wrong because Byron Donalds has it. Here we go. He says, Kaitlan Collins, what you just said is a lie. Chris Miller said under oath that President Trump did approve the National Guard and the D.C. mayor refused the order. I'll have more to say after the town hall on CNN. Reminder. And then he shows the video of him actually in Congress. I asked former acting DOD Secretary Christopher Miller about Mayor Bowser's request for National Guard's presence. Miller testified that Trump authorized the Guard, but Bowser chose not to use them. And she goes, Trump, you're wrong. I'm going to stop you there. You're wrong. Trump, no, you're wrong, wrong. Let me tell you this. It was funny how no matter what Trump said about the election, she was like, no, you're wrong. I think that was an opportunity for Trump. I want Trump off of the election fraud stuff. And it's really frustrating to me. People early on in the early days, and you've heard me say it 50 billion times, claimed that Dominion machines were hacked, that Venezuela was involved, that Germany was involved, that Chinese ballots. There's videos showing ballots being pulled out from under tables and they're counted and everyone's like, oh, that proves it, all the fraud. And then when I correctly break down the story, because that's what I do for all subjects, now people are like, oh, now Tim finally understands. Dude, when people were claiming Trump was going to be reinstated in March, in February, in April, like no matter what happened, they were like, Trump will be truly inaugurated on this date. And I kept saying no. People attacked me for it. And then you have that video I mentioned where they're pulling ballots from under the table. Watch the full video. I watched the full video. They actually they collect ballots from people like normal, put them in boxes. And at the end of the day, they pull them out to count them. But a lot of people didn't see those videos. That's why I say stop with the fraud narrative. It's a trap. It is a trick. They are, and whether you believe it or not, okay, I'm saying I disagree. I think what happened was Democrats had maximum ground game. They exploited COVID. They utilized universal mail-in voting. They went nursing home to nursing home. They had massive ground game, and they took away movies and sports and forced everyone into the political fray. And then Trump, they said he was at fault. And so, sure, you can come back and say, oh, what about signature verification? Listen, all of this was a legal process. That's the issue. Call it whatever you like colloquially. It was a legal process. I think Democrats play dirty games. I think that changing the rules on mail-in voting was dirty. I think we need voting reform because I think we need voter ID. The point is, CNN is trying to get Trump on this to wrap him up and trap him. And I'm going to show you proof, which is why I'm just like, dude, none of this. Take a look at this. This is great. Even from Jack Posobiec, even the CNN voter panel is destroying CNN. Let me play for you this clip. Here we go.
Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020? And
let me. I'm going to play it. I'm going to boost the volume real quick.
Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked in the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think you could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024 and not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well, there were questions, but you're right. That was the first thing, that's something that was on our mind. And that's why I was asked first. Does it bother you?
We'll let it go again.
He's talking about 2020 and not 2024. I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked in the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think you could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024 and not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well,
amazing. You see, that's the point right there. That's the proof. That's the evidence. That's what I've been trying to say. CNN's like, are you mad that Trump kept talking about this? Are you mad? And he's like, you asked him. Well, Trump could have said something about 2024. He did in the beginning. Kaitlan Collins is like, so Donald Trump, I want to ask you about 2020 election. And he's like, oh, it was rigged, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no, here we go. Trump needs to get off this. Moderates and independents don't care at all. But Trump did something smart, and I cheered for this. He said, but we got to talk about immigration. Our southern border is completely destroyed. Joe Biden is doing a terrible job. And then Kaitlan Collins goes, but I want to go back. I want to go back and talk more about that. That's you, CNN. You're garbage. But I respect CNN for having him on, letting him talk. Clearly, they're not happy about how it went down. But this dude nails it. They're the ones who brought it up. And we said this during the show. They're trying to force Trump to talk about it so they can get the sound bites, so they can do exactly this. They want to blast it on TV. They want Democrats to take those clips and say, 3 years later, Donald Trump still will not stop the lies in the commercial. And then it's going to be Donald Trump going like, well, you got to understand. And then they're going to show people saying like, can he just talk about the future? And they're going to use it against him. Trump needs to get off of this. And he could have done a better job, but he did try shifting away, and CNN pushed him back in because they know Trump will take the bait. So it was frustrating for me to see. But you know what I'd do if I was Trump? And Trump did a little bit of this. If I was Trump and they were like, talk to me about 2020, I'd say, look, clearly I'm not the president. 2020 was several years ago. I'd like to talk to you about how we're going to help the American people. And then when she goes, no, I want to talk about 2020, I would say, Kaitlan, with all due respect, the American people want to know about what's happening now and how we can make their lives better. Nobody wants to rehash the past. Let's move forward. Let's be progressive thinkers on this one. Turn CNN into the bad guys. That's the opportunity here. Well, here's the mainstream narrative. I love this one. This is from Politico, of all outlets. 5 takeaways from Trump's CNN SmackDown. SmackDown, they call it. Donald Trump did a greatest hits medley of his false election claims and January 6 explanations, and the GOP heavy crowd loved it. Okay, they called it a SmackDown. But you see what Politico's doing? A greatest hits medley of false election claims and January 6 explanations. It's amazing. They were trying to trap Trump. And they got what they wanted out of it. And then they pulled the plug. So I think that may be a component of why they shut it down. They're like, we got the sound bites. We got everything we need. Pull the plug. Let me tell you about Kaitlan Collins. Truly a despicable woman. I think it's absolutely hilarious they have her on the stage. She lacks the talent required for a job like this to be. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. I think she's despicable in her lies. In terms of having her on the stage with Trump, it was really poorly done. CNN guys, listen. Kaitlan Collins, good reporter, in terms of personality, not an anchor stage presence. This is a big mistake. You are not cultivating strong talent here. She just does not have the X factor. When you look at a Megyn Kelly, you see, or even like Dana Bash, you see presence. You do, whether you like their politics or not. Rachel Maddow, presence. Kaitlan Collins doesn't have any of that. It's the inverse. Like when you're standing before someone like Trump, you can feel that presence coming off on their imposing figures. She's not. She's the inverse. She's shrinking away. But you see what they did here? January 6 explanations. Kaitlan Collins was like, Donald Trump, Mr. President. She called him Mr. President over again. It was great. She's like, on January 6, you didn't say anything for 3 hours. And he's like, I'm going to whip it out. It was funny. And then he pulls out a paper and he's like, 2:30. I said, be peaceful. Do not fight with law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. No violations, no violence. And she goes, but why did you wait 3 hours? And he goes, I just said it right here. It was 2:30. The Capitol was breached at 2 p.m. It's right here. A half an hour later, he goes, but why did you wait 3 hours? It's like, oh, man. It's so annoying listening to them just lie over and over again. And of course, here's Politico jumping in. Here's CNN with theirs, the chilling reality of Trump Townhall. Oh, boy. Oh, here we go with it. Let me tell you the reality of Trump. The reality of Trump is this picture right here. This is an image from NBC News. This is from 3 years ago. This is Donald Trump in North Korea. He crossed the demilitarized zone into North Korea, shook hands with Kim Jong-un with no security detail, and then crossed back. And if the only way you think this is a bad thing is if you have Trump derangement syndrome. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. It may not be the most endearing thing, but I'm going to say it. Met a guy this past weekend who was like, there's no way you like that, ponying up to a dictator. And it's like, how do you bring about peace? What do you do? Do you just go around as the United States just killing all of your enemies all the time? Is that sustainable? And when I said Donald Trump crossed into North Korea with no security detail, a tremendous effort towards peace, people didn't believe me. This is what we're talking about with Donald Trump. This image right here should be seen as one of the most powerful historic moments in the past century. Obviously, we had World War II and stuff in the past 100 years, but this is an iconic moment. All of the conflict, the hatred, 50 years of the Korean War. And here is Trump, in good faith, risking his life. Now, I do think the risk to his life was minimal, to be fair. But this is the Donald Trump that I'm talking about when I say I want to vote for this man. Foreign policy, a good economy. That's why CNN pulled the plug. They want to smear him. They want to defame him. And they want you focused on 2020 and January 6th. Trump needs to push back and say, no, I don't want to talk about old stuff. We're here to talk about the future. Otherwise, they're going to get him. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all then.